morning, Board of School first graders. How's everyone doing today? So today is Wednesday, June 3rd. We got some pretty fun activities planned for you today. I did remove a lot from the remote learning packet for you, but I did want to make sure you concentrate today on the writing to sources. That's the big one, okay? I want you to make sure you really try to write those 3 to 4 sentences for me. That's our concentration for today, like a writing Wednesday, like we normally do in class. All right, tomorrow is June 4th. That's the Zoom at noon. That's your opportunity to come on and just chat, see your teachers, talk to us, say hi, tell us what's new, tell us what's different. Looking forward to that. Just wanted to remind you of that. Also, today I'm wearing my Special Olympics shirt. This is from 2019. This is from last year when I went to Summer Games down in Trenton. Unfortunately, that would have been happening this Friday. You would have actually seen that I would be absent this Friday from class, and I would be going down to Trenton for the entire weekend with my Special Olympics athletes as they compete in all their track and field events. That is canceled, but we're going to do some things online, and maybe if I can, I'll try to share some of that with you guys. All right, get to work. The ELA Daily Rundown, Wednesday, June 3rd, 2020. In reading, I want you to watch the read aloud again of Henry and Mudge in Mrs. Hopper's house. Then answer the following comprehension questions. Why do you think the author wrote this story? Why did Mrs. Hopper have so many costumes? Which costumes did Henry and Mudge try on? This will be your reading portfolio assignment for today in Class Dojo. There will be no cause and effect practice today because I want to concentrate more on our writing. We're going to do writing to sources. It's a bigger assignment than usual for writing, so let's give you some more time for that. Write a short paragraph that tells about the different costumes that Henry and Mudge try on. Use evidence from the text and illustrations as you write. This is your writing portfolio assignment in Class Dojo today. We'll be looking for about 3, maybe 4 sentences from the students on this one. In foundational skills, out of all the work that was posted on the remote learning packet today, we're just going to go and do some reading word practice, and we're going to do some sentence reading practice. We're going to skip everything else, and tomorrow we're going to look at a decodable reader, so we won't do that today. All right, let's get started. Henry and Mudge and Mrs. Hopper's House by Cynthia Ryland. Sure. Illustrated by Carolyn Bracken in the style of Susie Stevenson. The genre for today's story is realistic fiction. Realistic fiction has settings that seem real, but the stories are made up. Next, you will find out what happens when Henry and Mudge visit a neighbor. Let's begin. A sweetheart dance. Valentine's Day was coming. Henry and his big dog Mudge loved Valentine's Day because of the candy. They liked the candy hearts that said, "You're swell," and "Oh dear," and things like that. Henry read the words and Mudge licked them off. They were a good team. On this Valentine's Day, Henry's father and Henry's mother were going to a sweetheart dance. Henry and Mudge would be staying with Mrs. Hopper. Mrs. Hopper lived across the street in a big stone house with droopy trees and dark windows and a gargoyle on the door. Henry liked Mrs. Hopper, but he did not like her house. "Are you sure Mudge and I can't come to the sweetheart dance?" Henry asked his father. "Only if you both promise to wear a tuxedo and shiny black shoes and waltz to the Blue Danube," said Henry's father. Henry looked at Mudge and tried to imagine him in a tuxedo and shiny black shoes waltzing to the Blue Danube. "I think we'd better go to Mrs. Hopper's," Henry said. "Good idea," said Henry's father, "because Mudge only knows how to tap dance," Henry said with a grin. Costumes. Mrs. Hopper wasn't like anyone Henry had ever met. She played the violin for him. She served him tea. She told him about her father who had been a famous actor. She was very kind to Mudge. She cooked him a bowl of oatmeal and gave him his own loaf of French bread. After the tea and music and oatmeal, Mrs. Hopper took them upstairs. She opened a room that had been her father's. "Wow," said Henry. The room was full of costumes. There were silk capes and tall hats, shiny coats. There were canes and swords and umbrellas. There were wigs. Mrs. Hopper put a wig on Mudge. "You look like a poodle, Mudge," said Henry. Mudge wagged and wagged. Henry and Mudge and Mrs. Hopper spent most of the evening in the costume room. They had a wonderful time. When Henry when Henry's parents came back from the dance, were they ever surprised? Mudge was a poodle, and Henry was a man. Henry wore a tuxedo and a hat and shiny black shoes. "I bet you didn't know I was this handsome," Henry told his dad, and everyone laughed and laughed. All right, hope you enjoyed the story. Don't forget your comprehension question comes up next. For today's writing assignment, we're going to do writing to sources. Basically, we're asking for a paragraph. For you as first graders, I want 3 to 4 sentences. And you're going to answer this question. And everything you're going to answer here, all the evidence for your answer is coming from Henry, Mudge, and Mrs. Hopper's house, the story we just watched in the read aloud. Tell me about the different costumes in Mrs. Hopper's house. Which one was your favorite? What costume would you like to see that was not there? So just answering each one of those questions should alone give you the 3 sentences you need to make your minimum, okay? Tell me about the different costumes. Which one was your favorite? Were there any that you didn't like? Were there any that stuck out to you as important or different than the others? And which costume would you think belongs there that you didn't see? Anything. Could be anything at all. You're going to put these into 3 to 4 sentences and submit it for your writing portfolio assignment.